Hello, welcome to World Without Rule of Law, and welcome to the Southern Virginia Homestead. Today, just going to give a little update on things we're doing. It looks like rain. I thought the rain was done. It rained for the last few days. Actually, let's start with that. Let's take a walk down here. So, we had some rain for a few days. It's actually been, I think, almost 2 weeks since I've had to water the garden. A week and a half anyway, but before the rain, we had a dry spell. I was down to, on these two tubs, about 40 gallons of water. And it rained, and now I got both of them filled up. So we're looking at about 550 to 600 gallons of water. So that's encouraging, and thank God for the blessing of rain. Let's take a look in the garden. So, I know we've all looked at the garden before. Probably doesn't look much different. Just going to give you a quick rundown of what's going on. We got a pear tree over there. There was a nice, soft, delicious ripe pear I tried before. It was absolutely beautiful. The peaches are still hard and kind of nasty. Oh, actually, they're getting soft. They haven't been sprayed or pruned in a few years. So I'm thinking that they're probably not going to be too good to eat, but maybe we can make pies or jellies or something with them. Not really sure. I got to see and go through them. And they were just hard the other day. Now that rain, that might help soften them up, but next few days I'm going to try to assess that. Over here, show you a few things. Two new berry bushes I put in are doing good. Planted them here. I haven't watered them. I was watering them during the dry spell, and then of course, like I said, it rained for a week and a half. I feel confident that the roots are established. We won't need to water those anymore. Over here, I have this IBC tote, which in the spring, I'm going to cut the top off of it and make a little hugelkultur. It's just to experiment with it. I never did it before. And I might actually do more than one. I'm not really sure yet. So in the meantime, I drilled some 1/4-inch holes in it, and I've been putting all our kitchen scraps in here. Out in the back, I showed it in another video, I have a compost bin that I made out of pallets. And my goal is to put all the fall leaves in there and let them decay. And I know that'll take a few years, but I'm putting some grass clippings in there as well. I don't want to put the food in there. I know I mentioned this before because I don't want to attract rodents and animals and all kinds of stuff. So it's contained in here. When I take the top off to add stuff to it, and I can even smell it now because there are holes, and I flip it around every few days and I'll let it mix up. It's pretty nasty. It's just rotten veggies, right? But I'm thinking it's going to make good compost, and then I'll add it to whatever I got going next year. Compost thing is still experimental for me. I really don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just kind of learning as I go. But I picked a couple cantaloupes the other day. I picked a little watermelon today, but looks like earlier today they're winding down. I got one more watermelon. It's not quite ready yet. And that's right here. And they're smaller, but they were pretty good. Cantaloupes. I got a couple that are almost ready. I got a few. Looks like I'm going to get at least 3 or 4 more. They're almost ready. There's another little watermelon over there. So it's pretty encouraging. Cucumbers. I got a mess the other day. Here's another one I'm going to pick right here. I just saw it now. And they're looking pretty decent. And, again, I don't really know what I'm doing. It's the first time I really had any success with cucumbers. Some of them are sour, some of them aren't sour. So the sour ones we just throw in the compost. The other ones we eat. Sweet potatoes are doing good. Strawberries are June bearers. They're done. I just put them up here. I'm going to reclaim the dirt at some point. But, I've seen people do sweet potatoes and they bush out much more. And I don't know if it's because they're in buckets. But I watched the guy, Hollis and Nancy Homestead. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him, but he does sweet potatoes in containers. and they absolutely come out great, and there's like tons of foliage, so I don't know really what I'm doing wrong. My containers aren't any smaller than his, so I don't think it's a root issue for the roots, like a growth issue, a room issue for the roots. So I'm really not sure what's going on with that. If anybody has any input on that, feel free to put it in the comments. I love sweet potatoes, and I'd like to figure out what I did wrong and correct it for next year. Squash completely died out. A bug hit it. It wiped them out within a matter of days. I got, I think, 3 little squash all year. I'm almost certain, and I could be wrong about this, and again, if anybody knows, feel free to comment. I'm almost certain that the containers were not big enough for the roots. So one thing, next year I'm going to do the squash in the ground. I put the chips down. I was able to get 1 load of chips. That was a whole other struggle with the power company. I put my name on the list, whatever. I know I went through that rant before, but I was able to get 1 load. So I got a little back to eating things starting. I don't know if it's going to be ready for next year. I'll figure out a spot to put them. But the squash are definitely going in the ground next year. My peppers have been doing really well. I got a bunch of cayenne. I'm hoping they're going to get a little bigger. If not, a few days I'll pick them anyway. My banana peppers are getting pretty decent size. So I was picking them smaller than that. I wasn't letting them get to that size. But what I did was I pickled them in like a sugar and vinegar brine, and I added a little cayenne pepper and some garlic and some basil for flavor. They came out absolutely awesome in my own opinion. But these I'm gonna let get bigger, at least a few of them, because you can see it over here. Now these are jalapenos. The same thing's happening. They're turning orange, and they'll actually turn red. I thought I had a banana, but I must have picked it. Oh, here's one. So what happens is when I make them for the pickling brine, I like them with a snap and a crunch. So I pick them when they're yellow. When they're red, they're fully ripe and they have more of a pliable texture to them. And of course, that's ripe, right? Nice thing about peppers is they're edible at any stage. And so to put them on sandwiches and stuff, I like to snap, I like to crunch. I take them early. I'm growing some out now because I want to save some seeds, and in order to do that, they have to be ripe. So they have to get red. They have to be in that pliable stage. And so I got a lot more coming in. I'm probably not going to do it to all of them. I'm probably going to do another jar or 2 of the pickling ones just because I have a lot. I have my habanero peppers are coming in. They're starting to turn orange. I got some tomatoes. This one was a sucker that I pulled off one of my other ones, and I just stuck it in the ground, and it's producing some decent sized tomatoes. I got some jalapenos. Peppers are doing really well. Tomatoes are doing good. Some of them are starting to split because of all the rain. And the one thing I did wrong with the tomatoes, I'm confident that I can do them in buckets, but I got a little overzealous. I didn't have enough dirt, and I crowded them in, which was okay for most of their lifespan. But now as I go to pick, these aren't bad, but see these cherries? Like, I find myself like having to reach way in and pick them. And what happens is I hit them and they fall off. It's just too crowded. So I put 3 in this bucket. This is a pretty large bucket. Next year I'll do 2. These next size down ones, I did 2 in each one, along with the basil plant. Next year I'm going to only do 1 in each one, and I'm going to do a different trellising method so that I can pick them easier. Not only that, but I believe it's beneficial to have proper airflow through there, and so I think the way I got them here is impeding that. So I'm kind of learning that as I go too. I got a lot of basil, which we've been picking and using all season. I'm letting it go because I got to wait for it to dry out, obviously, but I want to save some seeds. As you can see, I got tons. It's bolting. I got tons of seed here. When it dies out, it should, from what I understand, I've never done it before, so again, that's kind of experimental too, but it should turn like a brown dead, and I should be able to just like chafe, just like kind of brush it away, sift it in a like a colander type thing, and get the seeds. I absolutely love fresh basil. Pushing it around like this, I could smell it. I love the smell of it. I love the taste of it. I use it in salads. I use it in cooking. I use it in the pickling brine for the peppers. And so I want to save my own seeds, and I'll probably give them away to people and stuff. And if anybody's interested in getting any basil seeds, and if I'm successful in saving them, I would be glad to share them with my subscribers or anybody who's watching. Other than that, I got these little plum tomatoes, and they're little yet, but they're starting to ripen, some of them. I was hoping they'd get a little bigger, and they still might. That's not really sure. It's the first year I did plum tomatoes, so we'll see. Let's take a look over here at the blackberries.